When the Wii U first released, it launched with two different tiers. The first tier was the basic Wii U. It came with 8 GB of storage, came with all the necessary plugs, was white, and cost only $300. The deluxe version launched at $350 with some extra things like a gamepad charging stand, 32 GB of storage, was now a black color, and of course, the pack-and-game Nintendo Land. This was a glorified minigame collection that was supposed to show off the gamepad's potential. Nintendo Land's core idea is it takes existing Nintendo franchises and creates fun game modes out of them, while using the gamepad in unique ways. Or at least that's how it was advertised. Some of them are team-based, some of them are single-player, and some of them are 1v3 games. Let's go through each of the Nintendo Land's modes and see what each has to offer. Quick note, every multiplayer game mentioned can at the very least be played with a minimum of 4 people. Starting off with the more team-based games, we'll start off with The Legend of Zelda Battle Quest. In this game, you and a team of up to 5 people will try to get through hordes of enemies on a set linear path. It's like the Wii Sports Resort game mode Swordplay Showdown. But what sets this apart from that is its Zelda theming. It's so charming to go through Hyrule in this toy-like setting with remixes of classic Zelda music. If you are using the Wii mode in this mode, you are a sword fighter and are able to slice through your enemies. If you hold up your Wii remote, your sword will charge up and you'll be able to unleash a devastating blow. The sword works fine, but every once in a while it seems to slip up on a slice. That's just one side of the spectrum though. The gamepad user is able to be an archer. As the archer, you can aim using the gyroscope found on the gamepad, making aiming really easy. You can hold up to 10 arrows at a time, but when you run out, just tilt the gamepad down and you'll refill. The gamepad controls work surprisingly well. This game is set up in levels, and at the end of every level is a boss you have to defeat to move on to the next level. Of course, the last level of the campaign is Ganon, and once defeated, it unlocks expert levels to complete. Overall, this game mode can be really fun as long as your friends are cooperative with you.
Bruh.
Next up is Pikmin Adventure, and this is probably my least favorite multiplayer mode. The player in the gamepad plays as Captain Olimar, who is once again stranded on a planet and sets off to escape. By tapping the screen on the gamepad, Olimar can throw the Pikmin at blocks and creatures. All the other players in this mode are abnormally large Pikmin who can just do as much as normal Pikmin. I mean, they level up and become more powerful, but not much more. A great way to describe this mode is basically just watered down Pikmin for co-op play. The better part about this game mode though is its versus mode, where one player gets to play as Olimar and the others are Pikmin. You compete for who can get the most candy by the end of a timer. You sabotage each other, can throw rocks, and push creatures into other players. It's just simple fun. Overall, not the greatest mode for multiplayer, but solid enough. The last game in the team-based category of modes is Metroid Blast. There are 3 different modes in this game. Assault Mission is a mini-campaign where players have to work together to take down waves of enemies. The Wii Remote player plays as a ground soldier. They can shoot, flip, grapple, and even roll into a ball. The camera can be a bit hard to control as a ground soldier, but overall, it works fine enough. The gamepad player though, gets to be Samus's gunship. As the gunship, you can shoot missiles, laser beams, and bombs. You can once again aim with the gyroscope, and it works great. However, this mode is pretty bare bones as it's just wave after wave with no huge change up. You go from level to level doing this. I couldn't really bring myself to do it. Where this game really shines though, is its surface air combat mode. It's the ground soldiers versus the airship. You can adjust how many hearts everybody has to make it equal, and it's just so much fun. There are even 5 different stages you can play on as well. My favorite is the volcanic sector. No matter how many people you have, this mode is great. Now, 1 + 1 = 2, so there has to be a 3rd game. Right? Ground Battle is the last mode, and is where everyone is a ground soldier and dukes it out, which would be fun on its own. But Nintendo decided to try and make this mode quote-unquote special, and added tokens. You know everybody's least favorite Mario Kart mode, Coin Runners? Well, imagine that, but Metroid and slower. That's Ground Battle. To earn tokens, you either find these pods that give you tokens, or shoot the other players. The mode's fine, but I think a regular free-for-all would have been better. Overall, 1 mode's amazing, and 2 of them are just okay. The next category of games are the versus games. These games are 1 player versus everyone else. The first one here is Mario Chase. This is where the gamepad player, Mario, runs away at the beginning of a match and then has 10 seconds to get away. The Wii Remote players, or the Toads, can't tell where he is, as Mario's view is only on the gamepad screen. After the 10 seconds, the Toads, or if you don't have a lot of players, the robotic Yoshis, go after Mario. Obviously, Mario's goal is to evade capture for the duration of the timer, while the Toad's goal is to obviously catch Mario. There's a little meter for each player that shows how close or far a Toad is from Mario, and it's just really fun. Is this the most accessible game in Nintendo Land? Seriously, how could you mess up this concept? There are 3 different stages to play here as well, each with their own identity. So, pretty great mode. Next mode up is Luigi's Ghost Mansion. Like Mario Chase, the game uses the gamepad in a similar way. The gamepad player, or the ghost, is invisible and only can be seen on the gamepad screen. On the TV, he is nowhere to be found. The goal here is for the ghost to catch all the other players before the time runs out. Or if you only have one player hunting you, catch the same person 3 times. The thing is, the Wii Remote players, or the ghost hunters, have flashlights to tag the ghost with. Their goal is to bring the ghost health down to 0 with their flashlight, or survive until time runs out. Ghost hunters only have their flashlight though, and even that's not permanent. Eventually, the battery power will run out, and the player will have to seek a battery which will randomly spawn somewhere on the map. Whenever the ghost is nearby the ghost hunters, a vibration will play on that specific ghost hunter's Wii Remote. The strength of the vibration depends on how near or far the ghost is from the player. The ghost has powers himself. He can dash to catch players in an instant, but at the cost of showing himself on the TV screen. As well, to make sure the ghost hunters don't just camp, holding down ZL and ZR will cause a black vortex to appear below players, forcing them to move. This is once again a great mode, and it's also very balanced, it feels. There are even multiple stages to play on here with gimmicks of its own. Again, another great mode. The last multiplayer mode is a bit of an odd one. Animal Crossing Sweet Day is hard to describe. The gamepad player controls 2 guards on the gamepad screen, but in a weird way. Each control stick is used to control a guard. I think this makes the game pretty even, as you can't just easily trap someone in the corner. At the beginning, the Wii Remote players take control of Animal Crossing characters and run away from the guards. The goal is to get the required amount of candy needed to win by, eating it? With 2 players, the goal is slightly modified with the guard's role remaining the same, but the lone animal's goal is to drop off candy in flagged areas. This game also has 2 different stages to play on. Overall, this mode is more fun the more players you get. With 2 people, the guards always seem to win, but with 2 to 4 other animals, it can be pretty fun. Now that's it for the multiplayer modes, but Nintendo Land also includes 6 other single player modes. Each of these are high score based, so let's go through and see how they fare. Yoshi's Fruit Car is our first one here. The way this one works is you have to get Yoshi from starting point to the ending tour while collecting all the fruit along the way. Using the gamepad, you have to draw a line that represents the path Yoshi follows to collect the fruits and get to the exit. The catch is, you can't see where anything is on the gamepad. TV is where you're able to see where all the fruits and such are. By comparing the backgrounds of the 2 screens, you'll have to figure it out. As you progress, other things pop up like having to collect the fruits in numerical order and such, but that's basically it. You keep going until you either get to the end or run out of lives. You gain points depending on how far you go. It's a fun game, nothing mind-blowing though, as this concept has been done before on the DS, but fun enough. Octopus Stands. The definition of Nintendo saying they needed one more game for Nintendo Land, and this is what they came up with. This game is just... why? First off, when you think of iconic Nintendo franchises, do you think of the octopus from Game & Watch? The name Game & Watch isn't even mentioned, all it says is octopus. I'm fine with Game & Watch being represented, but why the octopus? Next, the actual game portion isn't very, well, good. Depending on what round you're on, your Mii is either facing you or its back is facing you. You have to copy the dance movements of the other guy on screen. That's the game, very basic and not very original. The longer you last, the more points that are earned, I guess. The gamepad usage here isn't very good either. Switching the camera to the front and back is more annoying than cool. Just kind of a lame game overall. Donkey Kong's Crash Course. This one is basically just a gauntlet of obstacles. The faster you reach the end or the farther you make it in, the more points you get. You control it by tilting the gamepad back and forth. As the course moves forward, you'll have to press different buttons to raise platforms, but that's about it. The gamepad also has a zoomed in look at the player. This one's solid, but it could have easily just worked with a Wii Remote. Takuma's Ninja Castle comes from an obscure franchise. It stems from a game made for the Famicom Disk System never released in the US until much later on the 3DS. Other than a neat callback, the game works as you throwing ninja stars from the gamepad by pushing up on the screen. The gamepad is held sideways here as well to make it easier to flick the ninja stars. It's another score-based game depending on how far you get in the game and how many ninjas you hit. The game ends either if you reach the end or take 3 hits, as the ninjas can hit you. The screen changes to different areas and levels as it goes along. It's neat. The game itself is fine, but nothing too great. Imagine Balloon Fight in HD. That's Balloon Trip Breeze, except the game is now in stages and auto-scrolls. It's once again score-based, and you move by swiping your character on the gamepad screen. Like Takuma's Ninja Castle, if you take 3 hits in this one, you're also out. I like this one. I don't know why, but it's simple fun. There's no gimmick here, and the screen swiping is the natural way I'd want to move to me. Finally, we have our last game, Captain Falcon's Twister Race. Now, when you say F-Zero's gotten no love in the last 15 years, for a Nintendo Land in their face. Jokes aside, Captain Falcon's Twister Race is a fun game. The game goes through areas. Each area has a time limit to beat it in. If you don't cross the finish line for each in time, it's over. Falcon is controlled by turning the gamepad left and right. The gamepad is also held sideways so you can see more of the course at once on the gamepad. The gamepad's gimmick here is that it's an over-the-top view, while the TV's view is a third-person view. What they want you to do is to switch back and forth between the screens, but I think that's pretty annoying. I'd say cross your fingers to hope that everything's okay. Pretty fun minigame overall though. All of the games are held together by Central Plaza. It's set up to look like an amusement park. To make that feel even stronger, you unlock attractions for your plaza as time goes on that are related to the games found in Nintendo Land. The way you unlock attractions though is by earning coins for games. By shooting a pot or anything, you earn coins. You use those coins on this pachinko machine here. If you spend a coin, it drops the ball down the machine. If a stage is cleared, a prize is unlocked. These prizes are all either really bizarre or really novel. On top of that, there's a mode called Attraction Tour. It's a really neat idea. Pick any number of players and it'll pick random games for everyone to compete in. Who can score the most in this small segment of Captain Falcon's Twister Race, or who can win in a game of Mario Chase. I've never fully tried it out yet, but it seems like a great time. Then on top of that, achievements can be unlocked for each game. There are 5 stamps for each game, and some with a medal system even, like in the Wii series of games. So that's Nintendo Land. Compared to any other game collection, this is by far the most polished. Except for Octopus Stand. They all look visually nice for the style they go for. Most of the concepts are really fun. That's probably one of my favorite local multiplayer games. Single player wise, it's fine, but really shines with groups of 2 to 5 people. Even the plaza is charming with a bunch of different unlockables and it's just really fun. Probably my favorite game is probably Luigi's Ghost Mansion. It's just a really fun concept overall with a lot of depth for some reason. Anyways, enough of my blushing. Thank you for watching.